The day Earth made first contact with alien life, Dr. Elena Rai is expected to be in her lab, poring over radio telescope data as usual. Instead, she found herself aboard a hastily prepared military transport, streaking towards a massive object that had appeared in orbit around Jupiter. "Dr. Rais, we're approaching the anomaly," the pilot's voice crackled over the intercom. "You might want to see this." Elena unstrapped herself and floated towards the cockpit. As she peered through the reinforced glass, her breath caught in her throat. The anomaly was clearly a spacecraft, sleek, silvery, and utterly alien. It dwarfed their transport, stretching nearly a kilometer from end to end. "My God," she whispered, "it's really happening." For decades, humanity had searched the stars for signs of intelligent life. Now, it seemed, intelligent life had found them. As their ship drew closer, a soft blue light enveloped them. Elena felt a momentary surge of panic, but the pilot assured her that all systems were functioning normally. They were being guided into a cavernous docking bay. With a soft thud, they landed. Elena's heart raced as she joined the small delegation of diplomats and military personnel assembling near the airlock. Nobody knew quite what to expect. The outer doors slid open, revealing a brightly lit corridor. And there, waiting for them, stood the aliens. They were bipedal, vaguely humanoid, but with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors as they moved. Large, multifaceted eyes regarded the humans with what Elena hoped was curiosity rather than hostility. One of the aliens stepped forward, raising a hand in what was unmistakably a gesture of greeting. Then, to everyone's shock, it spoke in perfect English. "Welcome, humans of Earth. We are the Galactic Concord, and we come in peace." In the days that followed, Earth was a whirlwind of activity and emotion. News of the alien contact spread like wildfire, triggering everything from celebration to panic. World leaders scrambled to present a united front as they engaged in preliminary talks with the Concord representatives. Elena found herself at the center of it all, her expertise in xenobiology making her a key figure in humanity's efforts to understand their new galactic neighbors. She worked tirelessly, analyzing data and coordinating with scientists around the world. The Concord, it turned out, was a coalition of spacefaring species that had been aware of Earth for some time. They explained that they had waited to make contact until humanity had reached a certain level of technological advancement, though by their standards, we were still in our infancy. "Your species has great potential," Zavnar, the lead Concord diplomat, told Elena during one of their many meetings, "but you have much to learn before you can take your place among the stars." Initially, most humans were thrilled by the prospect of joining a galactic community. The Concord offered to share some of their technology, particularly in the fields of medicine and clean energy. Earth's environmental crisis, which had seemed so insurmountable, now appeared solvable with alien assistance. But as weeks turned into months, cracks began to appear in the rosy picture of human-alien relations. It started with small things. The Concord politely but firmly refused to share any of their more advanced technologies, particularly those related to faster-than-light travel or weaponry. They cited concerns about humanity's aggressive tendencies and lack of unified planetary governance. Then came the restrictions. The Concord established a perimeter around the solar system, gently but unmistakably making it clear that human ships were not to venture beyond it without permission. They also insisted on overseeing all of Earth's space development projects. "It's for your own safety," Zavnar explained when Elena confronted him about it. "The galaxy can be a dangerous place for young species. We're simply ensuring you don't attract unwanted attention." But to many humans, it felt less like protection and more like a cage. Tensions rose further when the Concord announced that Earth would be classified as a protectorate, a status that effectively made humanity a junior member of the galactic community with limited rights and representation. "This is bullshit," growled General Marcus Chen, Earth's top military liaison to the Concord, during a closed-door meeting with other human leaders. "They're treating us like children." Worse, Elena added, her initial excitement about alien contact now tempered by months of frustration. They're treating us like pets. As the one-year anniversary of first contact approached, discontent was spreading. Protests erupted in major cities around the world, with people demanding more transparency and autonomy in humanity's dealings with the Concord. The aliens seemed genuinely puzzled by the backlash. "We don't understand," Zavnar told Elena during a particularly tense meeting. "We're offering you protection, guidance, and access to technology beyond your wildest dreams. Why are your people not grateful?" Elena struggled to maintain her diplomatic composure. "Because we want to stand on our own feet," she explained. "We appreciate your help, but we need the freedom to make our own choices, even if that means making our own mistakes." Zavinar's multifaceted eyes glimmered with what might have been sympathy, or perhaps pity. "You simply don't understand the dangers that lurk in the depths of space, Dr. Reyes. There are threats out there that would view your world as nothing more than a resource to be exploited or destroyed. The protections we offer are not a choice. They are a necessity." As Elena left the meeting, she couldn't shake the feeling that there was something Zavnar wasn't telling her. The Concord's insistence on keeping humanity confined to their solar system seemed to stem from more than just paternalistic concern. Her suspicions were confirmed later that night, when General Chen contacted her through a secure channel. "Dr. Reyes, we need to talk," he said, his face grim on the holographic display. "Our intelligence team has been analyzing some of the Concord's communications. We've detected references to something called the Swarm. Whatever it is, it's got the aliens spooked." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. "Do you think this swarm is the real reason they're keeping us isolated?" Chen nodded. "It's looking that way. And if these translations are accurate, this threat isn't just to us. It's to the entire Concord." As Elena processed this information, she realized that humanity stood at a crossroads. They could continue to chafe under the Concord's restrictions, or they could find a way to prove their worth as allies rather than protectorates. "What do you propose we do, General?" she asked. Chen's eyes glinted with determination. "We do what humans do best, Doctor. We adapt, we innovate, and we surprise the hell out of anyone who underestimates us." As the call ended, Elena stared out her window at the night sky. Somewhere up there, beyond the twinkling stars, an unknown threat was lurking. And whether the Concord liked it or not, humanity was now part of a much larger, more dangerous universe. The coming months would test the ingenuity, courage, and unity of the human race like never before. But as Elena clenched her fists with renewed determination, she knew one thing for certain. Humanity was done being the galactic afterthought. One way or another, they would show the Concord and the universe what Earth was truly capable of. 6 months after Elena's conversation with General Chen, the true nature of the galactic threat became impossible for the Concord to conceal any longer. The first signs came as distress signals from distant outposts on the fringes of Concord space. Within weeks, entire colonies had gone dark. Elena found herself once again aboard a spacecraft, this time a Concord diplomatic vessel rushing towards an emergency summit. As she stared out at the streaking stars, Zavnar approached, his iridescent skin a dull, worried gray. "Dr. Reyes," he said, his normally melodious voice strained, "I owe you and your people an apology. We should have been more forthcoming about the dangers we face." Elena nodded, her expression grim. "Tell me about the swarm." Zavinar's multifaceted eyes seemed to dim. "They are a collective consciousness, utterly alien and utterly ruthless. They consume everything in their path. Resources, technology, even the very essence of sentient beings. We'd fought them before, pushed them back, but never defeated them entirely." As Zavinar spoke, holographic displays flickered to life around them, showing scenes of devastation. Entire planets reduced to barren husks, fleets of biomechanical ships swarming like locusts across the stars. "Why keep this from us?" Elena demanded. "Earth could have been preparing, helping. We hoped we had more time. Zabnar replied, his voice heavy with regret. And frankly, we feared that knowledge of such a threat might push humanity towards more aggressive technological development. The last thing we needed was another warmongering species in the galaxy. Alina bit back a retort. Now wasn't the time for recriminations. What can we do to help? Zavinar's skin rippled with surprise. You still wish to assist us, even after our deception. This threat is to all sentient life, Alina said firmly. Earth included. We're in this together, whether you like it or not. As they arrived at the summit, Alina was struck by the palpable fear among the gathered alien species. Representatives from dozens of worlds argued and debated, their translator devices creating a cacophony of panicked voices. The swarm has already taken 3 systems. Our outer colonies are defenseless. We must consolidate our forces, abandon the fringe worlds. Amidst the chaos, Alina spotted General Chen and the rest of the human delegation. She made her way over to them, noting their grim but determined expressions. Doctor, Chen greeted her. Glad you could make it to this circus. Before Alina could respond, a hush fell over the chamber. A holographic display sprang to life in the center of the room, showing a real-time feed from a Concorde battlecruiser. What they saw chilled Alina to her core. A vast, roiling cloud of biomechanical ships filled the screen, more numerous than stars. At their center loomed a massive structure, part living organism, part machine, that pulsed with malevolent energy. The swarm mothership, Zavnar whispered. We've never seen it so close before. As they watched, tendrils of energy lashed out from the mothership, enveloping a nearby planet. The world's surface began to blacken and crumble, its very essence seeming to be drained away. The feed cut out abruptly, leaving the chamber in stunned silence. It was General Chen who broke the quiet. We need to stop bickering and start fighting back, he declared, his voice ringing out across the chamber. Earth offers its full support and resources to combat this threat. A ripple of murmurs spread through the alien delegates. Finally, one of them, a towering crystalline being, spoke up. With all due respect, what can your primitive species offer against such a foe? You barely have interplanetary travel, let alone weapons capable of combating the swarm. Chen's eyes narrowed. You'd be surprised what humans can accomplish when our backs are against the wall. We may not have your advanced tech, but we have something just as valuable: unpredictability. The general is right, Alina added, stepping forward. Humanity's greatest strength is our adaptability. We think outside the box, and right now, that's exactly what you need. The chamber erupted into debate once more. Alina could see that some of the delegates were intrigued by the human offer, while others remained skeptical. In the end, it was Zavnar who tipped the scales. We accept Earth's offer of assistance, he announced. But understand this, you will be operating under Concorde command. We cannot risk unleashing an unproven force without oversight. Chen looked like he wanted to argue, but Alina laid a hand on his arm. We understand, she said. We're here to help, not take over. As the summit concluded, Alina and Chen found themselves in a private meeting with Zavinar and several other high-ranking Concorde officials. We'll need to accelerate the sharing of some of our technologies with Earth, one of the officials said reluctantly. Nothing too advanced, but enough to make your forces compatible with ours. Chen nodded. And we'll need unrestricted access to data on the swarm. If we're going to fight them, we need to understand them. As the details were hammered out, Alina couldn't shake a feeling of foreboding. They were about to enter a war unlike anything humanity had ever faced, against an enemy that defied comprehension. But as she looked around at her fellow humans, she also felt a surge of pride. They had come here as supplicants, treated as barely more than children by the Concorde. Now they were taking their first steps towards becoming true galactic citizens. As the meeting concluded, Zavnar approached Alina one last time. Dr. Reyes, he said softly, I hope you understand now why we were so cautious with your species. The galaxy is a far more dangerous place than you could have imagined. Elena met his gaze steadily. "Perhaps," she replied. "But you're about to learn that humanity is far more capable than you could have imagined, too." As they left the chamber, alarms began to sound. The swarm had struck again, this time even closer to the heart of Concord space. The war had begun in earnest, and humanity was about to show the galaxy what they were truly made of. The Concord's central command was in chaos. Alarms blared as reports flooded in from across the galaxy. The swarm had launched a massive assault on Nexus Prime, a key strategic world that served as a hub for Concord operations in 3 sectors. If Nexus Prime falls, we lose our foothold in the entire quadrant, Zavnar explained grimly to Elena and General Chen. "But our nearest fleet is 2 days away at best." Chen's eyes narrowed. "What about us? Earth's fleet is prepped and ready." The alien delegates exchanged uncertain glances. "Your ships are not equipped with our faster-than-light drives," one of them pointed out. "You'd never make it in time." "Maybe not with your tech," Chen replied with a hint of a smile. "But we've been working on something of our own." Elena felt a surge of excitement. She'd heard rumors about a secret project back on Earth, but this was the first confirmation she'd received. Zavnar looked skeptical. "You have faster-than-light capabilities. Why didn't you inform the Concord?" "Because until now, we weren't sure it would work," Elena interjected smoothly. "And to be frank, given your restrictions on our technological development, we thought it best to keep it under wraps until it was ready." There was a tense moment of silence as the Concord officials processed this information. Finally, Zavnar spoke. "Very well. If you truly believe you can reach Nexus Prime in time, you have our permission to engage. But understand this. If you fail, the consequences for Earth could be severe." Chen nodded grimly. "Understood. We won't let you down." As they rushed to prepare for departure, Elena cornered Chen in a quiet corridor. "Okay, spill it. What's this secret project you've been working on?" The general's eyes gleamed with pride. "We call it the Alcubierre drive. It doesn't travel through space so much as warp space around the ship. Theoretically, it could get us to Nexus Prime in a matter of hours." Elena's scientific mind raced with the implications. "That's incredible, but also incredibly risky. The energy requirements alone are massive." "Yes," Chen finished for her, "but we've managed to stabilize it using some of the Concord's energy tech. It's not perfect, but it's our best shot." Within the hour, Earth's hastily assembled fleet was ready for departure. As Elena boarded the flagship alongside Chen, she couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and trepidation. This was humanity's moment to prove itself, or to fail spectacularly. The journey was unlike anything Elena had ever experienced. Stars streaked by in psychedelic swirls as space itself seemed to ripple around them. When they finally emerged from the warp, the scene that greeted them was one of utter chaos. Nexus Prime loomed before them, its once pristine surface now scarred by swarm attacks. The planet's orbital defenses were in tatters, and swarms of biomechanical ships filled the sky. "All ships, engage at will," Chen's voice crackled over the comms. "Remember your training. Hit hard, stay mobile, and watch each other's backs." What followed was a battle that would be remembered in human history for generations to come. Earth's ships, smaller and less advanced than their Concord counterparts, darted and weaved through the swarm's formations with surprising agility. Elena, monitoring the battle from the flagship's command center, watched in awe as human pilots pulled off maneuvers that seemed to defy physics. They used the planet's gravity to slingshot around, catching swarm ships in devastating crossfires. They executed rapid, unpredictable course changes that left the hive-minded swarm struggling to adapt. But it wasn't just fancy flying that turned the tide. Human strategists had devised unconventional weapons that proved surprisingly effective against the swarm. Electromagnetic pulse generators disrupted the enemy's biomechanical systems. Nanite swarms of our own design infiltrated and sabotaged larger swarm vessels from within. As the battle raged on, Elena noticed something curious. The swarm's attacks were becoming less coordinated, more frantic. They're not used to this, she realized aloud. They can't predict us like they can the Concorde. Chen nodded grimly. That's our advantage. We're too damn stubborn and unpredictable to fit into their calculations. The turning point came when a squad of human ships managed to breach the defenses of a massive swarm carrier. Instead of trying to destroy it outright, they deployed a specially designed virus into its systems. The carrier, suddenly unable to distinguish friend from foe, began attacking its own forces. In the confusion that followed, Earth's fleet pressed their advantage. Hour by grueling hour, they pushed the swarm back, until finally, the enemy forces began a full retreat. As the last of the swarm ships disappeared into the depths of space, a stunned silence fell over the comms. Then, gradually, cheers began to erupt. First from the human ships, then from the beleaguered defenders on Nexus Prime, and finally from the Concorde reinforcements arriving too late to join the fight. Back on the flagship, Elena found herself swept up in a jubilant embrace by General Chen. "We did it, Doc," he said, his voice hoarse with emotion. "We actually did it." As the adrenaline of battle faded, the true magnitude of what they had accomplished began to sink in. Humanity, the upstart newcomers to the galactic stage, had just saved one of the Concorde's most important worlds from the galaxy's greatest threat. Hours later, as cleanup and rescue operations were underway, a transmission came through from Concorde High Command. Xavenar's face appeared on the main view screen, his expression a mix of awe and humility. "On behalf of the Galactic Concorde," he began formally, "I extend our deepest gratitude to the forces of Earth. Your bravery, ingenuity, and sacrifice have saved countless lives and preserved a critical stronghold against the swarm." He paused, his multifaceted eyes gleaming with what might have been tears. "We were wrong about your species, Dr. Rice, General Chen. You have proven yourselves to be not just allies, but saviors. The Concorde is in your debt." As the transmission ended, Elena and Chen shared a look of quiet triumph. This victory had done more than just save a planet. It had changed the course of human history. The galaxy would never underestimate humanity again. In the months following the Battle of Nexus Prime, the galaxy witnessed a seismic shift in the relationship between Earth and the Galactic Concorde. Humanity, once dismissed as primitive newcomers, now found itself thrust into the spotlight as a key player in the war against the swarm. Elena Reyes, now serving as Earth's primary liaison to the Concorde, barely had time to catch her breath between meetings, strategy sessions, and technological exchanges. The Concorde, desperate to replicate Earth's success, was suddenly eager to learn everything they could about human tactics and technology. "It's ironic," Elena remarked to General Chen during a rare moment of downtime. "A year ago, they were terrified of giving us any advanced tech. Now they're practically begging us to upgrade their systems." Chen nodded, a wry smile on his face. Amazing what kicking some alien ass can do for interspecies relations. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Xavinar, who had become a frequent visitor to Earth in recent weeks. The alien diplomat's skin shimmered with an array of excited colors. "Dr. Rice, General Chen," he greeted them. "I bring news from the Concorde High Council. They've agreed to your proposal for joint research and development initiatives." Elena felt a surge of excitement. This was the opportunity they'd been pushing for. A chance to combine human ingenuity with Concorde resources and knowledge. "That's fantastic news," she said. "When can we get started?" "Immediately," Xavinar replied. In fact, the Council has gone a step further. They're proposing to establish a new multi-species task force to combat the swarm, with Earth playing a central role. Chen's eyebrows shot up. "Central role? As in?" "As in leadership," Xavinar confirmed. "The Council believes that human unpredictability and adaptability are key to defeating the swarm. They want you to spearhead our offensive strategies." The implications were staggering. In less than a year, humanity had gone from being a protected species to potentially leading the galaxy's defense against its greatest threat. As they delved into the details of this new arrangement, Elena couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and trepidation. They were gaining access to technologies and resources beyond their wildest dreams, but with that came enormous responsibility. Over the next few weeks, Earth became a hub of frenetic activity. Scientists and engineers from dozens of alien species poured in, eager to collaborate with their human counterparts. Shipyards that had once struggled to produce interplanetary vessels were now churning out advanced warships incorporating both human and Concorde technologies. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Some members of the Concorde, particularly those from older, more established species, bristled at humanity's meteoric rise. They argued that Earth was too young, too untested to be trusted with such power and responsibility. These tensions came to a head during a crucial strategy meeting at Concorde headquarters. As Elena and Chen presented their plan for a bold offensive against a key swarm stronghold, they were interrupted by Grax, a representative from one of the Concorde's founding species. "This is madness," Grax growled, his crystalline form vibrating with agitation. "You would risk everything on an untested strategy devised by a species that was flinging feces at each other mere moments ago, in galactic terms." The chamber fell silent, all eyes turning to the human delegation. Elena felt a flash of anger, but before she could respond, Chen stepped forward. "With all due respect, Ambassador," he said, his voice calm but steely, "while you were busy hiding behind your established defenses and outdated tactics, we feces flingers were out there saving your worlds and your people." He gestured to a holographic display showing the recent battles against the swarm. "Every engagement where human forces have been involved has resulted in victory or strategic withdrawal. Can you say the same for purely Concorde operations?" Grax sputtered, but Chen pressed on. "We're not asking you to blindly follow us. We're asking you to work with us, to combine your experience and resources with our fresh perspective and adaptability. That's the only way we stand a chance against the swarm." As murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber, Elena stepped in to smooth things over. "We understand your concerns, Ambassador Grax. That's why we're proposing joint command structures and collaborative research efforts. This isn't about Earth taking over. It's about all of us working together in new ways to face an unprecedented threat." In the end, the human plan was approved, albeit with some modifications to appease the more conservative factions. As the meeting adjourned, Elena and Chen found themselves approached by a diverse group of alien representatives, all eager to discuss further collaboration. "Well played in there," Elena murmured to Chen as they made their way through the crowd. The general shrugged. "Just told it like it is. If they can't handle the truth, they shouldn't be leading a war effort." As they prepared to return to Earth, Elena reflected on how far they'd come. The planet that had once been relegated to the galactic backwater was now at the forefront of the fight for the galaxy's future. But with this new status came new dangers. The swarm, initially caught off guard by human tactics, would undoubtedly adapt. And there were still factions within the Concorde who viewed Earth's rise with suspicion and fear. As their ship entered warp space, Elena gazed out at the swirling cosmic energies. They had turned the tables on those who had underestimated them, but the real challenge was just beginning. The war against the swarm was far from over, but for the first time since the conflict began, there was a palpable sense of hope spreading throughout the galaxy. And at the center of that hope stood humanity, no longer the new kids on the block, but the unexpected champions of a cosmos in peril. The combined fleets of Earth and the Galactic Concorde hung in the inky void of space, a dazzling array of ships representing dozens of species united against a common foe. At the center of the formation, the newly christened ESS Humanity's Hope, a massive flagship that melded the best of human and alien technologies, pulsed with barely contained energy. On the bridge, Dr. Elena Reyes stood beside General Chen, both of them gazing at the holographic display that dominated the command center. It showed their target, the swarm mothership, a colossal biomechanical horror that had eluded destruction for centuries. "All ships report ready," a young lieutenant announced. her voice steady despite the tension that permeated the air. Chen nodded grimly. "This is it, folks. Everything we've fought for comes down to this moment." Elena felt a hand on her shoulder and turned to see Xavanar, his iridescent skin, a swirl of determined blues and resolute greens. "Your plan is sound, Dr. Reyes," the alien diplomat said softly. "We trust in humanity's ingenuity." Those words, so different from the patronizing tones of just 2 years ago, filled Elena with a mixture of pride and trepidation. The fate of the galaxy rested on a plan born from the combined brilliance of a dozen species, but with humanity's unpredictable flair at its core. "Fleet, commence Operation Starburst," Chen commanded. At once, the massive armada burst into action. Smaller, agile ships darted forward, engaging the swarm's outer defenses in a dazzling display of lights and explosions. Larger cruisers provided covering fire, their advanced weapons, a fusion of human imagination and alien technology, tearing through the biomechanical swarms. But this was merely the opening act. The real plan hinged on a daring maneuver that many had deemed impossible. As the battle raged, a specialized squad of ships, piloted by the best human and alien crews, broke off from the main fleet. They weaved through the chaos, making a beeline for the mothership. "Epsilon Squad, you have a go for insertion," Elena called out, her heart pounding. The squad acknowledged and then seemed to vanish from sensors. They were employing a cloaking technology based on the camouflage abilities of Earth's cuttlefish, refined and amplified by Concord science. Minutes ticked by like hours as Elena, Chen, and the entire bridge crew waited with bated breath. The main battle continued to rage, but it was all a distraction for the real mission. Suddenly, alarms blared across the mothership. Massive tentacles of energy that had been lashing out at the fleet began to spasm erratically. "They've done it," Xavanar breathed in awe. The specialized squad had penetrated the mothership's defenses and deployed their payload, a hybrid virus that combined Earth computer code with the psychic abilities of one of the Concord's more esoteric species. It was designed to disrupt the hive mind at its source. "All ships, converge on the mothership," Chen ordered. "Hit it with everything we've got." The next few minutes were a blur of light and sound as the combined fleet unleashed a barrage unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human-designed kinetic weapons worked in concert with Concord energy projectors, hammering the mothership from